Good afternoon, YouTube. You'll have to excuse my voice. I have a slight cold, but I figured I would walk through my settings for you guys. So a couple things about my computer. I am running a 13900K. It is not overclocked. I have a ASUS TUF 4090. I have 32 gigs of RAM. I'm running that at 6000 megahertz. I'm just going to walk through my game settings for you guys. And then we're going to do a quick benchmark test to see. I run full screen borderless. I find it's much easier to switch between different scenes that way. Display, monitor, obviously these things will all be unique to your setup. My resolution, it's kind of a unique resolution. It is a Dell 38-inch ultra-wide, kind of running between 4K and 2K resolution. I personally love the 1600 vertical aspect ratio. It gives really good pixel density on this monitor. Obviously, it is a 21:9, quite wide. Really does great for gameplay and seeing things out of the corners of your eyes. VSync, everything off. Frame rate, I do run a custom frame rate. I set the menus and autofocus both to 75. I run the frame rate limit at 250 in game. The monitor is a 144 hertz monitor, but I find just letting it kind of go wild with the frame rates usually results in the best frame rates for me personally. It is a G-Sync Ultimate monitor, so it really runs stuff very smoothly. Really like it. Eco mode off. Display gamma 2.2. Don't constrain the mouse. HDR off, always. It's terrible. Render resolution at 100%. Upscaling and sharpening. I have this off. I'm going to show you later in the video how I apply sharpening using the GPU and not a game setting. This definitely hits your FPS. I don't like that performance hit. The scaling through the GPU has no performance hit, in my opinion, makes the game and the textures look great. Anti-aliasing at a normal using the Filmic. Video memory scale 60, that's going to depend on your GPU. I obviously have a 4090 with 24 gig video memory, so I only use a little bit of that. Texture resolution, normal. I find the game looks best at normal. You can go low, but I don't like the graininess. Again, image sharpening helps with that. Texture filter high. Low clutter draw distance is grayed out because I actually have this set up in the COD CST options file. Particle quality and level both low. Bullet impacts on. Personal preference, I like seeing them. Persistent damage layers off. This kind of hits your GPU hard. It has to keep rendering all the different damage layers even after the scene has passed. Shader quality medium. I find it's the best trade-off of visual fidelity versus performance. With this at low, I really find a lot of like funky shadows pop in and out. Tessellation near. On-demand texture streaming. I have really good internet and a high-end GPU, so I don't mind letting it download textures in the background. I set that to normal. Volumetric quality low and deferred physics quality definitely off. That when you get near water with this setting on, you could see a pretty big like 20 to 30 FPS hit in that. Map resolution low. I find it looks fine. I don't really see anything. Screen space shadows off. I find this is quite a hit when looking at your guns or looking at reflections on windows. It actually helps you see through windows a bit better. Medium, Spot Cache Ultra. I have plenty of room on my disk on the computer. I let it, build a big cache. Particle lighting low. Ambient occlusion I just turned completely off. Screen space reflections, again, off. Really helps you see through windows. You don't get a glare off of them. That's great. Weather grid volumes, off. NVIDIA low latency. I have it on and not on plus boost. I find this is probably GPU dependent again. I have the 4090. I don't really find the boost setting does much. I'm not CPU bound, especially at this resolution. Depth of field, world motion blur, weapon blur, film grain, all set to off or 0. Moving on to the view tab, I do run full 120 FOV. I find that actually when you reduce your FOV, it actually hurts your FPS. I've tested a couple different things. It is noticeable, so I run that off. These are personal preference. Third person, I drop the view down to 80%. I almost never play in third person, so it's kind of a non-issue setting. Field of view wide. First person camera, third person camera. I set this to as low as possible for movement. I don't like the shaking. It'll give me a headache. It'll make me nauseous. So yeah, that's those settings. We're going to jump into actually multiplayer and check out this benchmark. Go all the way down to the bottom. We have our benchmark and we are going to give this a run and we'll see what the results are. All right, so here we have the results. 228 FPS, great, low 1% and low fifth, well within my monitor's capability. If I ever decide to stream or do anything, I have plenty of headroom for this game. So I'm just noticing my render resolution is actually at 99% in this. I don't know why that is. It's typically at 100, but I don't really think it's going to affect the results much. But here's the results. Next, I'm going to jump into the NVIDIA control panel and go through the settings there. Okay, so here we are in Windows. The first thing we're going to do is the image sharpening setting is not on by default on the latest drivers from NVIDIA. First, we have to enable that, and we have to do a little bit of Windows tweaking in the registry editor. So down in your search bar, we're just going to type regedit. Once it's open, we're going to navigate to this path. I will put this path in the description of the video so you guys can find it quickly and easily, but we're going to browse in Registry Editor. I'll just scroll up here so you guys can see. Under Computer, HKey Local Machine, and we're going to go all the way down into a folder called FTS. And the setting we're looking for is Enable GR535. All you're going to have to do is double click it. It's going to open this value data. Yours will probably be set to 1. You're going to hit 0. You're going to select the 1 or delete it, whatever, hit 0, hit OK. That's going to enable in NVIDIA control panel the image sharpening setting. So once you're done with that, you can close out, open up NVIDIA control panel, go to Manage 3D Settings. In here, you're going to find a setting now. It's going to show up called Image Sharpening. Now, I have image sharpening off as a global setting because I don't want it to try to image sharpen things all over my PC when I'm not running the game. It doesn't really make sense. So we're going to go to Program Settings here. And in Program Settings, you're going to look for your Call of Duty. You may have to add it. I've already added mine in here. You can just browse to wherever Call of Duty is on your computer, and it's going to basically create a profile for it. Then under image sharpening, you're going to click the setting. It will usually be off. We're going to turn it on, and I have mine set to about 0.65. I find is a really good, just little, it sharpens up the game quite a bit. We're going to ignore the film grain completely. I left it where it was by default, and then we're going to hit OK. There's one more thing that we're going to have to do before we open up the game again to make sure your textures look good. So we're going to close, we're done in here, we can close this out. We go to our disk on our computer, wherever you have Call of Duty installed. For me, it's in my program files. We're going to go to the Call of Duty folder. We're going to go to Retail. We're going to go to Shader Cache. We're going to select everything in here and we're going to delete it. Don't worry, it's not going to do anything to your game. It's just going to basically trigger that the next time you open up Call of Duty, it's going to rebuild your shaders with the image sharpening on. Once you do that, obviously you're going to boot the game back up. It's going to sit there and run through the shader rebuild, and that should be it. Let me know what you guys think. Those are my settings. Yours may differ. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions.